Talking about motivation, meditation, inspiration. We just took a break, set up our lemon shake, getting that second shake going. Guys, get your diet going on. Get your stuff going on your day. Ask yourself the question, is it about motivation? Is it about meditation? Is it about inspiration? If it's not one of the three, I don't want it. So I want to continue talking about how focusing on what you truly focus on, like the simplicity of it is that when you put yourself in a place where you use a victim mentality, you are nothing less than a victim, except for until the day you choose to free yourself. And so as we start to free ourselves, we start to give ourselves the ability to recognize that we're worth it. And it exactly breaks down to it and allows us to see where other people's mentality are thinking from. If they are seeking approval from other people instead of themselves, that's what they're going to get. If they're looking for other people to say it's okay and to say poor me, poor you, that's what they're going to get from everyone around them. So it's kind of like the car thing where, you go out and you're searching for a car, and you go into a lot and you look inside the lot and you see the cars and you pick this one, like this one's a positive or a negative in the universe, and you start to ask yourself the question, does that one work for me? And you start to seek it out and you start to get attached to it to the point where your mentality starts to disable itself. And it's only inside of the mentality that we have the choice to enable ourselves, right? And it's when we are pointing our finger at other people that we're not able to do so, that we're not able to focus on the positivity. And took the story of that I was sharing, and hearing other people actually saying these types of things, and the type of seeking out approval from others, right? And so why would you want to seek out approval from others? Why would you want other people's opinions to matter to your own true inner self? Why would you want to allow those types of things to have a place and to hold you back from your own level of mentality? And so this is what I'm talking about. And I got to see somebody who had a disabled mentality. That's not what it's about. It's about finding the person that you are inside. It's about facing off against the challenges that you have and becoming that positive person that you already are. It's about not needing to change yourself for other people. It's about being who you are on the inside. It's about being honest with yourself. And sometimes that's a little too deep for people. Sometimes finding that person that we are inside is a little bit difficult. It takes your mentality. It takes your ability to be who you are on the inside. It takes one's thought process to focus past the challenges. And just because somebody did something to you doesn't mean that you get to sit there and stay on the page, poor me about it. When do you get back up? When do you stop putting the focus into the things that are actually negative and you start to see the positivity in them? And it was great to hear that last message and to be able to see that what we have inside is a blessing and that our challenges can become overcome. And as we sit down with ourselves and we focus through our challenges, as we put ourselves on a page where it actually takes your mentality. You see, a lot of people are asking themselves that type of question. A lot of people seek approval on the outside. And the point is to be within you, to become your best friend, to put yourself on a page where you start to study yourself, where you truly sit down with who you are on the inside, where the freedom comes from within. And it's really great to have challenges, because without challenges, you can't find the mentality. It's up for you to allow those types of things to be a part of your day. It's when you focus to the point where you're using the blessings that you have inside that you start to overcome those kinds of challenges. Each of us have the ability to do that. You can't do that if you stay on that page. You can't do that if the page that you want to stay on is that you don't want to be positive, if the page that you stay on is that you don't want to achieve your dreams, your goals, if what you're searching out is not a positive force in the universe, if what you're filling in with approval from other people, that it's okay for you to be negative, That's not a place inside where I pick myself back up. That's not where you pick yourself back up from. That's not where an able mentality. It's your own mind that enables you. It's also your own mind that disables you. And it was interesting to watch a girl explain to me that why I should feel poor for her. It's not that. It's when we are willing to be ourselves. We are a being. We're present inside of our being. Blessings to Russia as well. A Merry Christmas to everybody. And it's interesting that when you're bringing somebody closer to knowing themselves, when you're bringing somebody closer to facing off against their own challenges, that's when they start saying that you're negative. They start saying that you're negative when you're positively bringing them up, when you're positively putting them in a place where they're uplifting themselves. And I've seen this time and time again. All of you have. You've seen that person who sits down and does nothing. You've seen that person who doesn't get to the place inside where they start to achieve their dreams. You've seen the person who sits inside, and there's people that have done it for years. They just stay in that place. That's not what happens on this channel. This is a channel where people truly start getting their mentality going, truly start to become uplifted, truly start to become positive, truly start to use the positivity inside themselves. The battle isn't against me, it's against your own mind, folks. It's about what you want to become. It's about who you want to be inside of yourself. It's not about staying as a victim. It's about freeing yourself. It's about having an able mentality. It's about having an able ability for you to be yourself and to put yourself on that page where, it's inside of you to overcome your challenges. And it's a blessing to have challenges. And it's when we embrace our challenges, it's when we allow ourselves to overcome our own challenges that we free ourselves. It's when we allow ourselves the permission to be who we are inside. And as I heard this person talking about how somebody should feel for them, they were seeking out approval from other people. It's not when you seek out it from other people, it's when you seek it out from yourself. It's what you feel inside. It's the way that your mind works. It's the way that your being works. And it's from the inside out. It's not from the outside in. It just doesn't work that way truthfully inside. You live inside of your being. You are present inside of your being. You are in a place of focus when you sit down and you study you. When you sit down and you allow those people to move in their direction, when you start to see the positivity, then the things that are meant for you start to fill into place. For each action, there's an equal and opposite. So if you're a negative person, then what's going to happen is you're going to get the opposite. People that are positive are going to come in your direction, and then you're going to move out of the way on your own. You're going to see yourself move. You're going to see yourself in a place where you are who you are on the inside. It's absolutely a blessing to have those kind of challenges. They don't derail the mind, they liberate the mind. They give me the exact reason why I do what I do, why I am who I am on the inside. It comes from that ability to get to that page where we have what it takes. And it's only inside of ourselves that we overcome our own challenges. It's only inside of ourselves where we free ourselves. You see, a lot of us are waiting for other people to free us instead of freeing ourselves. We're waiting for somebody else to come up with the answers. We're searching for the answers in other people. You're never going to find them. You're not going to find them in other people. They are going to come inside of you. They are yours to start to think. It's yours. You have your mind. You have your challenges. You have your manifestation. You have your being. And it's inside of the mind that we find ourselves. It's inside of that place, inside of who we truly are, that we start to overcome it. And it's interesting to see the mentality of those people that have a poor me mentality. They have a poor ability inside of themselves. They don't believe in themselves. They don't believe in their abilities. They allow other people to stop them from being who they are. And that's not what this channel is about. It's not about you having a victim mentality. It's about you having an able mentality. I'm not here to bring you down. I'm here to uplift you. I'm here to tell you that, you can get your butt kicked 5 times and get up on the sixth. I'm here to be a coach in life, to uplift people, to bring people to a place where they can see and hear the stories that I've been through so they can overcome their own challenges. So that they can be who they are on the inside, that they can free themselves.
Is this Christmas edition?
Christmas edition. Yes, Derek.
Christmas COVID 2020?
No, this is not that. This is a place where we talk about mentality. It's a place where we talk about ability. It was interesting. I just had a girl who hopped on and she was talking to me about how she had somebody for years and she had the poor me mentality, Derek, the ability for wanted everybody else's approval. And that's not what this is about. It's not about limiting yourself. It's about picking yourself back up, And today is Christmas, huh?
Christmas 2020?
Yeah. 2020 Christmas.
We survived all the apocalypses to this point.
And where do we start to focus to that point where we use what we have inside? Where do we start to sit down and not blame other people? When we're sitting inside of the place where our mentality is disabled, we want to put it on somebody else. We want somebody else to achieve it for us. We want somebody else to do it for you. That's not how it works, guys. It doesn't work when your mind is disabled. It works when you're positive. It works when you see positivity, when you start seeking approval from other people and you seek it from within yourself. It's when you're willing to dominate your walk, when you're willing to be the person that you are inside. And a lot of us are not able to do that. It's inside of ourselves where we stop seeking it from other people and we start seeking it from ourselves. And I realized that as I was sitting inside of the car meditating, I was sleeping in my van and I was in a place I didn't need it from somebody else. All I had was myself. When do you give yourself the permission to be who you are on the inside? When do you pick yourself up? When do you see the gift that you are in this universe? When do you allow yourself to be who you truly are? It's amazing how I see the poor me mentality and the people who are holding themselves back. They blame it on other people. They don't pick themselves up. They don't see it. And at one time, there was a time when, if you didn't pick yourself up, you would die. If you don't want it that bad, this channel is not for you. If you don't want to succeed in your mentality to the point where you are who you are on the inside, if you don't want to dominate your being, if you don't want to be who you are, this channel is not for you. You can flip it off now if you want to. But this is the channel where we talk about how to get there for ourselves. This is a channel where we allow ourselves to grow. It's where we focus to the point where what we have inside is the being that we are, where we use the tasks, we study ourselves, we pick ourselves back up, we don't stay down. And a lot of people have chosen to stay down. They've chosen to say, let me go ahead and see if I can go ahead and get other people to feel sorry for me. That's not going to happen. That is not going to happen here. I'm not here to bring you down. I am here to uplift you. I am here to tell you that it's possible for you to overcome your challenges. It's possible for you to overcome your emotion. It's possible for you to liberate your lessons inside of you. You know, I am not a yogi to be hailed down. I am not to be looked upon as a down figure. I am not looked upon to be something less than myself. I have had my own challenges. You have had your challenges. You have gone through your things. And they are a blessing. And it's only when you are willing to go through them that you start to overcome them. It's only when you're willing to focus to that point where nobody else is able to go for you. And you can't get that from other people. It won't come from other people. It will not come from other people's approval. The only person that you needs approval is yourself. The only person that you got to be is who you are on the inside. The only person whose focus matters is the one whose attention is put towards it. You know, definition of focus on Wikipedia is where you put your attention. Are you putting your attention into positivity, or are you allowing yourself to seek it from other people? And at a certain point, you know that's true. At a certain point inside, it's what matters is what's going on inside you, not what other people say. And it is a beautiful thing when a person realizes that other people aren't going to pick them up, that other people aren't going to do it for them. It's a beautiful thing when we start doing it for ourselves. We start to stand strong inside of ourselves. We start to ask ourselves the questions. We start to get down with the challenges that we have. You know, and a lot of people call that grinding. They call that getting down to the point where it's a stone against stone. It's you versus you. It's that person inside of yourself who you truly are starting to pick up. You know, it's in a daily mentality. It's in a daily ability. It's not going to come from somebody else. It's not for somebody else to do for you. It's not somebody else's responsibility. It's not my responsibility to feel sorry for somebody. You know, and we've heard the stories of people who have picked themselves back up. We've heard the stories of people who did not allow it to affect them. We've heard the stories of people who did not allow somebody else's mentality to disable them. You know, that's how we create superstars in the world. We create superstars from being one ourselves. Like, you know, it's only when you sit down with yourself that you start to free you. It's only when you give yourself the place to pick yourself up. It's when you give yourself the ability to get to that point. You know, I think of the challenges that I've been through. I don't want somebody to feel sorry for me. I don't want somebody to feel sorry for me that I've been through my challenges. I want them to see the challenges, that they can overcome them for themselves. And that takes self-ownership. That takes self-being. That takes self-ability to see that it's worth it. And you know, it's only going to happen to you if you want it for yourself. When you want it for somebody else to want it for you, you're going to be trapped in the mentality that's disabled. And it's finding the able mentality that frees you. It's finding the ability to be positive. It's finding the ability to overcome your kinds of challenges and to be in a place where positivity becomes a reflection, where it becomes a manifestation, where it becomes a level of understanding where what you have inside is that. And what a blessing it is for us to have those kinds of challenges. What a blessing it is for us to have that place inside. You know, a lot of people are stopping themselves from that place because they have that kind of mentality. They want other people to achieve it for them. And that is a lazy mentality. That is a negative mentality, to want other people to do it for you. You know, you breathe your breath. You have your life. You have your challenges. It is for you to make it through it yourself. It is for you to pick yourself up. It's for you to focus to the point where you have what it takes within you. It is within you that you have to free yourself of that challenge. It's not somebody else that's going to do it for you. It's not somebody else's place, and it's kind of a poor me mentality to want it from somebody else to do for you. It's not going to happen here. It's not going to happen on this channel. It's not going to happen ever on this channel that we're going to allow that kind of mentality to take place. It's not going to happen. And it's just inside of you that you got to free yourself. And if that's what you're looking for, if you're looking for other people to accept you, if you're looking for other people to do it for you, go search out those channels for people who want some coping to something else other than being themselves. Because what you're going to find on this channel is how to be yourself, how to go within yourself, how to overcome your challenges by being who you are. Because that's what it's about. It's about being who you are on the inside. It's about you believing in yourself. It's about you manifesting your being. It's about you being that blessing in this universe, and having a way even when there isn't a way. And that is what it's about. Are you on that page with you? Are you asking yourself that type of question, or have you stopped yourself from that ability? Because this is what it's about. It's about you. And when you look at other people and you call other people negative, when they call you out on that, when they call you out on the ability for you to be yourself, remember, the only person you're calling out is yourself, because their battle isn't versus you. It's there for you to see for yourself. It's there for you to see for who you are on the inside. Look at how many people have asked themselves this question. Is it you versus you, or are you trying to find approval from other people? Because you ain't going to find it on this channel. And it is a blessing to have challenge. It is an absolute blessing for you to have challenges. When you let things go that aren't meant for you, the things that are meant for you move in your direction. When you allow yourself to be positive from within, the reflection radiates outwards. When you take from understanding the ability inside of yourself and you see the blessing inside of you that you are, then the blessing inside of you starts to manifest around you. And it's when you seek approval from others that you fall short. Seek it inside of yourself. Look at the lessons that you've been through. Look at the stories that you've been through. Look at the challenges that you've been through. Look at the person that you are inside. Look at the ability that you have inside of yourself. You know, that's a kid's mentality, to be in a place where it's a victim mentality. You know, sure, we're going to be victims in our life. Sure, we're going to have things that are going to be asking us the question. And sure, it's going to be you versus you at times. And you're going to feel like people are not there for you. It's when you believe in you. And it's when you pick yourself up that you free you. It was when I started to love myself. It's when I started to sit inside a sauna and started to observe. When you start to have patience with you, when you start to sit down inside and the thought process comes up, it's when you pick yourself up that you start to overcome your challenges. And we each have challenges. So to have a victim mentality is only the victim itself to feel like, how could it happen to me? You know, I've seen and been through multiple things. I've had multiple challenges. And always I remembered that the able mentality comes from a level of focus, a level of positivity, a level of being, a level of manifestation that reflects outwards from positivity, from a positive angle, from a positive ability, from a positive understanding. And it's reflection from within that we radiate outwards. It's not going to change until you want to be yourself, and the things around you are the ones that start to happen in a positive way. Let that be the positivity. Let you be honest with yourself. And a lot of people do not want to work on the hardest trait, positivity and honesty with oneself. They want it from somebody else. They need it from somebody else. They want to feel poor me. They want them to hand them a little chocolate. They want it to be, for them. They don't want to go and have to make that chocolate bar themselves. A lot of people are too lazy to be who they are on the inside. They're too lazy to believe in themselves. They're too lazy to go to that point where, It comes from within. And it's only on that page that you start to overcome your challenges. It's only when you want it for yourself. It's only when you want it inside of your mind. It's only when we are focused to the point where we have what it takes. And it's it's a blessing to be going through challenges. What a and when we don't embrace them, when we don't give ourselves the process, when we don't give ourselves the ability to go through them, and we seek out approval from other people, we lose ourselves. I remembered loving somebody more than I loved myself. I remembered caring more about somebody more than I cared about myself. I remembered putting myself in a place where I was doing things for other people. I was seeking approval from other people. And at that point, I never had who I truly was. It wasn't until I let those people go. It wasn't until I let that mentality go. It wasn't until I let that ability. It wasn't until I sat down and I started to break it down until I was broken to nothingness. Broken to the place where what is inside uses the ability for you to be who you are. We need to be able to be this being. We got to be present inside of ourselves. A lot of people want to leave that. They want the drugs. They want the alcohol. They want these things. When do you want you? When do you truly want yourself? When do you truly want to be who you are inside? When do you truly want to face off against those types of things? When do you become the manifestation? When do you have the level of focus? When do you put yourself on the page where you're not battling other people, where it's not a war for acceptance, where you are who you are on the inside? And sometimes people aren't out there to fight with you. Sometimes their opinions are coming from knowledge. Sometimes their opinion isn't to fight you, it's to help you to grow inside. Sometimes it comes from that place that we hear other people that realize when we finally fall down on the ground on our own, we can pick ourselves back up, where we could study our being, where we could be who we are on the inside, and it ain't gonna come from somebody else. I'm sorry, but it just doesn't work that way. It works when you're willing to put in the time. It works when you're willing to focus towards positivity, when you're willing to sit down and study yourself, where you're studying yourself like a student in a classroom, where you sit down with your being, where you become present inside of yourself, where it isn't how other people feel about you, it's how you feel about yourself. As long as you have one friend inside of you, it's sufficient. It's when we are become our own best friend. It's when we become our own person inside. It's when we become allowed to be who we are. And it's when we liberate ourselves from that, when we break the chains that hold us back, is when we focus through the things that nobody else can do for us. And it's inside of ourselves that we free ourselves. It's when you sit down with you and you start to break down those kinds of things, when you don't have to change, you have to be positive. When you start to have positive things come in your life, and positive people start coming in your direction, and things start happening for you because you truly are being yourself. It's when things start happening with you because you see what is inside manifesting on the outside. It's when we are focused to that point where we have what it takes. And it's inside of ourselves that we seek it out. It's inside of ourselves that we become a light in this universe. It's inside of ourselves that we start to manifest and reflect. And it's inside of our understanding. It's when we're able to enter the classroom of oneself, when honesty becomes the foundation, the level of focus of oneself allows the fear to move out of the way, the abandonment to no longer have its place, the liberation of one's being, the understanding of one's being, the purpose of one's being. And you ain't going to get that from other people. You're going to get that from yourself. You're going to get that from being who you are inside and having nothing more and nothing less. And it's inside of ourselves that we find that place. It's inside of ourselves that we find that purpose. It's inside of ourselves that we sit down with our mentality. And I will not sit down with a disabled mentality. I will not sit in a place where, I want you to feel sorry for me. I don't want you to feel sorry for me. I want you to become freed inside. I want you to become liberated from your challenges. I want you to see the lessons inside of yourself. I want you to see the freedom that lives inside of you. I want you to see the blessing that you are sufficient, that you can overcome your own challenges, that you have a purpose on the face of this planet. I want you to dominate your being. I want you to see that you are worth it. And inside of that, I want to say amen to the being who believes in themselves. You can believe in yourself. You have to become your best friend. You don't seek that out outside of you. You seek that out inside of yourself. You uplift yourself. You become who you are inside. You become that being, that beautiful person that you are when you stand up for yourself inside of you. And you sit down inside of your classroom, when you sit down inside of your level of study, when you shut the door and you turn off that world, when you turn off that news, when you turn off that radio, when you turn on that positivity, when you hear other people that have decided to pick themselves up and you see that as a positive thing, when you're not trying to seek out approval from others, you're seeking out inside of yourself. And so it's not when you're in a place searching for somebody else to do it that you get that ability. It's when you sit down inside of yourself and you seek it out inside of you. A lot of people go to school and they go to education and they sit down and they want to achieve a level certificate. They forget about the time it takes for them to sit down and achieve that level of certificate for themselves. They forget about that knowledge being extracted. They forget about that study inside. They forget about those stories that they've been through. They forget about those qualifications inside of themselves. And they want somebody else to do it for them. That ain't going to happen. You can't get an A on the test, truly get an A, without cheating. Hear what I'm saying? Without cheating, unless you study. You can't study unless you give yourself the time to. You can't have the time to unless you give yourself the ability to sit there and be positive and to put your energy into that place. You can't get that energy if you don't believe in yourself. So how do you start to? How do you start to study? How do you start to sit down with you? How do you start to get into the energy inside? You got to put your energy into it. You got to put your focus into it. You got to put yourself in a positive place where things that are being brought towards you are positive. Things that are being brought in your direction are there for you. And you can't get through your challenges unless you allow yourself to find that place inside of you. And it ain't versus somebody else to find it for you. It isn't going to happen when you're searching inside of somebody else. It's not going to happen when you're searching outwards for it. It comes from within out. It doesn't work the other way around. It comes from within out. A lot of us are crushed by this world. We feel like we have to change our being to change who we are. That's not how it works. It comes from within you. It comes from within your ability. It comes from an able mentality. It comes from a level of focus to the point where you're willing to go inwards, where you're willing to face off against that being inside of yourself, where you're able to be who you are on the inside. And a lot of us, we find that place is the hardest place because self-honesty is hard. Self-honesty is the hardest trait to work with on the face of the planet, and we recognize that. We recognize that self-understanding is liberation. And inside of the place of the classroom, you have to center yourself. You have to give yourself a place to be patient with you, to grow inside of you, to work through your challenges, to be who you are on the inside, to face off against the things that only you can. And you can do that. You can be that person, but you got to want it for yourself. You can't want to seek approval from other people to become it. You got to want it from inside of yourself. You got to seek approval from yourself. And that cuts down to the core like a knife. It cuts into the parts and the places where where other people just are not willing to go. And I get it. I get it that a lot of people are afraid to reach that page, and that's okay too, because it just takes one step at a time. It takes one little thing like sitting down and writing stuff down, by choosing to look into positivity, by putting yourself in a place where you simply start to gain the access to the knowledge inside of yourself, the freedom. When you start to become your best friend, you start to read your thoughts, you start to read your mind, because it's inside of your mind that you start to overcome your challenges. It's inside of your mind that you find the ability. It's inside of your mind that you find your freedom. It's inside of your mind that you find your understanding. It's when you want it that you start to achieve it. It's when you want it that you start to understand it. It's when you want it that you start to become it. It's not achieving it from somebody else's point of view. Remember, everyone has their own point. It's when you are the point inside of yourself that you start to see the blessings that come from within. It's when you want to do it for you. And it doesn't come from somebody else doing it for you. And so an able mentality opens the energy inside of you. It opens the understanding. It gives you the ability to stand your ground, gives you the ability to use your human system. It has the ability for your thought process, has the ability to overcome your worry, has the ability for the heart to open up, the lower and the upper parts of the heart, the understanding of your heart, the understanding of your heart, the relation of your heart, the ability for you to voice yourself only comes to the person who's willing to truly be who they are on the inside, to truly be who they are in their manifestation, to truly be who they are in their reflection. And a lot of people stop themselves, and it reminds me of when we cross our legs and we have one on top of the other. In the beginning, you start to feel the pain. In the beginning, you start to feel the emotion. In the beginning, you start to feel the fear. And then you sit down and you work through it, one breath at a time, one page at a time, one challenge at a time. You know, you cannot eat an elephant in whole. You have to eat an elephant one bite at a time. Take your life one challenge at a time. Work through one challenge at a time. Seek it from within, not from others for approval. Seek it from within your being for your manifestation. And think it from within becomes a reflection on the outside. When you gain the understanding of the knowledge within you, when you gain the understanding of the being within you, when you gain that person inside of yourself, that's when you find freedom. It's when you seek out the one inside of you. It's when you seek out that place inside of you where no one else is willing to go. It's when you see yourself. You know, we have seen people that have reached universal levels. You know, we have 12-year-olds that are millionaires. We have, people that have had, they're not fully grown in mind, in an understanding they are. So how do we start to do that for ourselves? Not with a poor me mentality. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work when you are with a poor me mentality. It doesn't work when you are stopping yourself. It doesn't work when you're not giving yourself the ability to go through your challenges. Those are your challenges to go through. And it's only when you give yourself the place to grow from within. It's only when you sit down and you start to understand and that light inside of yourself starts to go off. When you start to have the aha moments. I got it. I can be me. When do you feel that for you, that you can be yourself? When do you give yourself that kind of permission for you to be yourself? It's about time we start to sit down at that point inside of ourselves. It's about time that we sit down inside of the being where we focus through the challenges, where we have what it takes inside. And so each of us has that kind of a place to need this universe to become our friends. We must first become our own friends before the universe can utilize you. You are a tool, you are a gift in this universe. You have a purpose in this universe. You are a blessing in this universe. And you have a path in this universe. And I remembered learning this lesson on the beach in San Diego, in Pacific Beach, next to the pier. As I sat there in meditation, I started to remember that when we started this journey alone. We breathed our first breath for ourselves. Not somebody else breathed that breath for you. You breathed that breath for yourself. And that you started your journey. And a lot of us get lost in companionship. We get lost because somebody joins us on our path. We get lost because somebody joins us on our journey. We get lost because somebody forgets about themselves. And they put somebody else in front of who they are. And, what a blessing this holiday is, that we can have a day to do so, to put other people ahead of ourselves. And what a positive day it is. What a positive day it is for us to see it for ourselves and to be it inside of who we are. And it's this Christmas day, and what a blessing it is for us to see these kinds of challenges. You are going to have challenge. You are going to have things that are asking the questions if you truly want it inside of yourself, and what a blessing it is for you to be a student of your life. Each of us have many stories to share. We have a journey, we have a path, we have a reason to be positive on a daily, no matter our challenges. It's inside of not blaming somebody else. Is when we own up to ourselves, when we become who we are on the inside, when we truly start to pick ourselves up. Blessings. I'll go ahead and bring you online here. So, a lot of us are put in a place. So I was just asked a question. That is a very good question. If you'd like, I'll invite you on and you can actually ask that question live. Now, I am on multiple feeds. I am on YouTube, Periscope, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So, the question that I was asked: how do you deal with difficult relatives around the holidays? Okay. Only people that you really truly want to be around, that you want to acknowledge, is with positivity. So you just don't communicate with them. It's quite simple. If they're going to ask you questions that are challenging, you say, hey, look, today's a positive day. If you want to be around me, you're going to have to be positive. It's up to you to allow the people that are going to be around you to be around you. They only can bring you down if you allow them to bring you down. If you allow them to disable your mentality. And so that was a really good question to ask. So I will give the answer as when I was driving. I had 14,000 customers with Uber. Customers would try to bring negative answers to the table. I only acknowledged positive answers. I only talked to people that were positive. I only allowed myself to have conversation if it was positive. And I did 14,000 trips. And so I found that with people that are going to be around you, only allow the ones that are going to be around you that are going to be positive. You have the ability to choose who you're going to allow to be around you, no matter where you are. You don't have to acknowledge the people that aren't positive. They can either choose to become positive or they can move out of the way on their own. Because with each action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So it's up to you to allow them to disable your mentality. It's up to you to allow them to enable your mentality. So it's up to you to put yourself in a place where your mentality has the ability to overcome your own challenges. And you can only do that if you're honest with yourself. So if it's a negative person, or a person that doesn't want to be there, let them go. Let them do their own thing. Let them be their own self. Let them do their own thing and be positive that they are going their own way, their own direction. And so that is how you deal with relatives that are difficult. Is you see the positivity or you let them move in their direction. And so how do you be positive? How do you do that? How do you put yourself in that place? It comes from your mentality and what you allow to be around you. That is a huge key to how to overcome a lot of challenge. It's a huge key to boosting your mentality, to boosting your ability, because we face off against this every day. We face off against these kind of challenges on a daily basis. There we go. That is how we start picking ourselves back up. We put ourselves, so if you'd like to communicate more, there's a live messenger where you can actually get you online. You can actually be asking these questions. So search out positivity. Write down all of those things that you struggle with. I guess I also wrestle with negativity a lot inside. So sit down with yourself and start to study you. Sit down with yourself and start to write down all of those challenges. And then sit down again with yourself and start to focus on positive things. You know, how can you overcome those challenges? Take those same challenges and challenge yourself to overcome them, right? Challenge yourself in a sense to study yourself, to use the tools and the gifts that you have so that you can be who you want to be inside. And so earlier I had a person who was coming in and they had a companionship, and the person had gone off and moved on in their life, and they were still on the poor me mentality. And they were coming in here trying to get me to say, poor you. That's not going to happen. It's inside of ourselves that we have to pick ourselves up. It's inside of ourselves that we can have the ability to be who we are. It's inside of ourselves where we find nothing less and nothing more than who we are. And it's self-honesty that helps us to make it through our challenges. It's believing in oneself that starts to become one's best friend. It's the patience to sit down with yourself day in and day out and to face off against those challenges. And that's a great thing to have that kind of challenge, because when you have it, then you have something to be able to work with. You have something to be able to work through. And that is a self-honesty.
Christmas edition?
That is a reflection, and it's side of the ability to wrestle with that part of ourselves that we can start turning it positive. It's when we wrestle with that part of ourselves that we start to utilize it. It's when we wrestle with that part of ourselves to where we start to overcome our challenges. And it's that level of discipline that we find ourselves, right? And it's on that page and inside where we use our mentality, we use our being, we see that, you know, what we are is a light in this universe. And a lot of people, they don't want to do that. You know, as this, like I said, this channel is not for the person who doesn't want to believe in themselves. This channel is for the person who wants to get back up, that's had their butt kicked, who wants to get back up in their profession, who wants to get back up in their life, wants to get back up in themselves, wants people to be attracted to them to be themselves, wants to be inspired to be who they are, who wants to be inspired to make a difference in this world. This channel is for you. This channel is for you if you want to see yourself, if you want to become that kind of blessing, and you want to have those kinds of challenges become overcome. And it's only going to happen when you believe in yourself. It's only going to happen when you believe in you. So, can we get to the place of discipline where focus and knowledge is applied? Can we reach the place where discipline radiates light outwards? Can we get to the place inside where we utilize our challenges, where we focus through it? It's a blessing for your challenges to be there for you. Are you seeing them, or are you letting yourself stop you? Ask yourself that question. Only you can. Only you can be presented with the facts and the challenges and find a way to make it through them. Find the equation that's called you. Find the equation that sees your blessings. Find the equation that gives you the ability to go through your challenges, and find the equation that gives you the permission to face off against you and to be who you are on the inside. And then watch the blessings come out of that. Watch the blessings come out of the manifestation that you already have, which is yourself. A lot of people, they look for somebody else to approve of them, and they search for somebody else to do it for them. That's not what it's about. It's never going to be about somebody else's poor me or poor you. It's just, that's not how things are. That's not what people will be seeking out from me. I will not allow myself to be brought to the level where discipline does not lay. Discipline is the being. Discipline is the practice. Discipline is the purpose of being yourself. And we are beautiful beings on the face of the planet. We are absolutely beautiful beings. And we each have a purpose, and we each have a path, and we have a journey, and it's a beautiful thing, and your challenges are yours to overcome. And it's not going to happen unless you want it to. It's not going to happen unless you go within yourself, where you find that place where you use your whole being, where you find those things that you use inside of yourself, where you focus through it. What is it that you want to achieve in your vibration? What is it that drives you? What is it that makes you who you are? I would like for you to share your stories. I'd like for you to share your challenges. I'd like you to seek out positivity and to come across as a positive being of the universe, and to manifest your destiny, and to manifest your being, and to allow those people that are not meant for you to move out of the way is a part of the way in which blessings start coming your way. It's only when that happens for you that it starts to happen. It's only when that happens for you that you start to see the blessings on your daily. It's only when you allow your challenges that you can overcome them. It's not from somebody else that you will overcome your challenges. It's when you choose to overcome your own challenges. It's when you choose to be who you are inside. It's when you choose to be who you are. You're not seeking it from somebody else. A lot of people try to seek approval from others until they want their own approval. It's inside of ourselves that we seek that light. It's inside of ourselves that we start to overcome our challenges. So focus to that point where you have what it takes inside, where your light lights up in this world, where your being becomes a reflection, where your being becomes an understanding, where your being has the ability to be who you are and to face off against the things that only you can. Blessings, blessings, blessings. All right. So, happy holidays, everybody. I mean, what a blessing it is that we have a day where we all can sit down and see these types of things, these kind of manifestation. And it was a wonderful thing to have that kind of a test to see how positive we can turn these types of situations. And it's unfortunate that certain people do not see that for themselves. They look at the holidays and they don't really want to achieve it. You know, it's inside of you. It's there for you. It's within you, and you have the permission to be yourself. Only when you give yourself the permission to be you. And we each need that person inside. We need that place inside of ourselves to grow, to mature, to go beyond our challenges, to go beyond the things that nobody else can do for you, and to the place of discipline. Truly, discipline is understanding and not allowing those people that are not meant to be in our lives to be in our lives. To be truly disciplined is to be who we are on the inside, to be honest with ourselves, to be that light that we have. And each of us have that kind of light inside of ourselves. When do you give yourself that kind of permission? And it's inside of ourselves that we have challenges to overcome. It's inside of ourselves that we have the ability to find that place and to find that being and to find that level of manifestation and to be who we are on the inside. And it's inside of our blessings that we get to overcome our challenges. We each ask, how can we do that for ourselves? We become that light when we're willing to share it. We see those kind of challenges when we get to the places where holidays inspire other people, when you're sharing gifts with others, when you're putting yourself in a place where you're gaining a level of liberation, where you're gaining a level of freedom inside of you, and you're putting yourself in a place where you have what it takes, where you go beyond your challenges. And we are blessings in this universe. And each of us has that place where we need to get it to become our light. And we can't seek it from others. It's got to come from within you. It's got to come from within your own belief, within your own mentality, within your own level of foundation, within your own asking yourself the questions, is this what I'm doing today? Is this motivation? Is what I'm doing today meditation? Is what I'm doing today inspiration? We got to ask ourselves, if it's one of those three, then I want it. If it's not, I don't want it to be a part of my life. And it's not going to be. It's not going to happen. It's not going to be a part of manifestation. It's not going to be a part of understanding. And it's inside of ourselves that we find that level of light. It's inside of ourselves that we find that level of being. It's inside of ourselves that we start to have that kind of understanding. What a blessing it is for us to have challenge. What a blessing it is for us to have, people who will not just put up with the poor me mentality. What a blessing it is for us to be who we are on the inside. I just want to say to you all that you are blessings. and that everything that you have inside is worth it. Every challenge that you have, everything that you go through. And I just want you to be left with that kind of mentality, to give yourself that place to go through your challenges so that you can be who you are on the inside. As I want to close, I want to say blessings to all, blessings, and namaste.